What's going on, guys? I'm joined by my client Scott here, and in the space of 4 months, Scott went from I think 1K all-time revenue to 10K cash collected a month. It's been a pleasure to work with this guy and see him go from, doing this and grinding, doing this on the side, eking out like just a tiny little bit of cash every month, to now where you're full time on the business. And we just had some time to connect before this. So, Scott, if you don't mind introducing yourself, where can people find you? Who is it you work with? And yeah, basically what was going on before we started working together.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate you for having me on, man. So essentially, you can find me on Instagram at SB Dating. I'm a men's dating and mindset coach. I'm looking to help men basically over, helping them achieve what it is they want in their dating life. Start by tackling all their inner work and all the skill sets that take place in between. Before I started working with Matt, as he said, I was making 1K a month on a bunch of low ticket items, and it just me and Matt connected very well to the point where I'm comfortably making these 10K months, and it's honestly amazing. I was able to quit my 9 to 5, and it's been a blessing.
Awesome, man. Well, dude, as I said, it has been a pleasure to work with you. When you think back to like what was going on before, you were one of these clients that had built up an audience, right? But still you were struggling to like really make any substantial money, not even forget about even replacing your 9 to 5 income. When you look back, like what was holding you back from, getting support or making this happen? Right? Like, why do you think you were struggling so much back then?
Well, first of all, I didn't even know much about high ticket coaching. I didn't know the possibilities of it. And honestly, I looked at this whole coaching thing as like a side hustle, right? I wasn't taking it seriously as a business opportunity or anything like that. It was just something I did on the side. And so when I changed that sort of like paradigm and mindset shift, that's when I really like realized, hey, this is something that you could really dive into as a career. And so that's the major difference between what I was thinking back then to, what took me over the top.
Cool. Awesome, man. That's a really important point because like you were charging $60 a coaching session, completely unaware of high ticket coaching and like transformative high ticket 3, 4, 5K packages. And now like you've made this happen. I speak to so many guys that like, they've read all the marketing books and they've been aware of this stuff for so long. They made that shift into high ticket coaching, but like they themselves are reluctant to get support or get coaches or get coaching, get support. Did you ever find yourself in that situation that you thought you like had all the answers, or did you ever have resistance to getting coaching? And what led you to ultimately like sign up on that call with me?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was like most guys, I feel like I thought I could do everything by myself. So I'm like, I'm gonna do every little thing I can before I invest into something like coaching or even think about it. And I declined the idea for a while, but it got to a point where I'm like, hey, why not go and get the guidance with a guy who knows what he's talking about, bring in the expertise, all of
Mm,
that, and just
yeah,
get to where it is you want to go. That was the biggest thing for me, right?
yeah.
Was just getting over that, realizing you can get to the other side. All you have to do is just, look to invest into the right people, and that's what's gonna get.
Cool. So, Scott, when we work with clients, what we're working on is it's like the lead gen strategy. We're working on their copywriting, their messaging, developing their offer, their sales process. When you look back at where you were, those 4 months ago, right, did you have an offer in place? Did you have clarity on who you were looking to work with, or was this pretty much ground zero at that point?
Oh, this was ground zero. I had no real strategy. I didn't really have any experience in sales whatsoever. Didn't even know where to start, like an outreach campaign or anything of that nature. So coming in with those tools was like next. It was next level. It was just actually what needed to be in place if I wanted to, like you said, continue to actually look at this as a business, right?
Cool. And did you feel like those systems and things were there for you to run with?
Oh, absolutely. I think early on we established like day one, you came up with a system right? We implemented it immediately, and right off the bat, it was like this like waving of a magic wand. Like I saw that it was working immediately. I'm like, okay, you know, there are guys within my, audience that are literally my ideal client that I didn't even realize was there. It's about bringing them out, right? Getting them through the process. And like I said, learning sales in general was just huge,
Yeah.
huge. So to answer your question, the processes were there, just about implementing it. And we saw that. No, I don't think took too long, Matt.
So that first sale that came in, you went from doing like 1K all-time revenue. That first high ticket sale that was made like 3 weeks into the program, maybe even less, was for 2.5. What did it feel making that transformation to like from idea inception to now closing high ticket clients?
Oh, it was like opening up a whole new world, right? It was like I had just gotten through months of like grinding up to this 1K revenue and then having that first client come in for the 2.5. It just gave me like all the confidence I need. I'm like, wow, this is really something that, I could continue to build off of, actually gaining like solid clients. And it just overall just changed the whole way I thought about it, right? Like I said, I didn't even know this was really too much of a thing at first.
Yeah.
So it's like groundbreaking stuff, man. It's the best way to.
That's great, man. That's incredible. So I always say to people that like, from zero to your first high ticket sale, that's the biggest leap. Going from one high ticket sale to 3 or 4 a month, right? At that point, you're doing like 10 grand, but it's just incremental progression. That leap from 0 to 1 is the big thing. That's where so many people get tripped up almost before they even start. When you look back at the journey we've gone through, between like the outreach stuff, like even working on your offer and your delivery, the sales process, what one thing do you think had the biggest impact for you?
I would say just the lead generation, right? Just taking my audience and like figuring out like, okay, there are guys within my audience that really would want to invest in this side of my business, right? They really want to work with you one on one. You just have to have something for them to invest in. If you don't have something for them to invest in, then you don't really know what you're capable of doing, right?
For sure. For sure. And nowadays, with like the sales process, the Segit system in place, how do you feel when you're getting on calls? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Do you feel prepared? Where are you at when you get on sales calls these days?
Oh yeah, it's at this point it's like rinse and repeat, right? It's just like I've gained so much clarity with it. I know that it works, so I just trust in it. I know the process. And so like as I'm going from step to step, before when I first started it was like, oh my God, how am I gonna learn all these things? How am I gonna do, all these things? But it doesn't really take long, man.
So your price point in getting started, it must have felt like a shock when you were selling $60 sessions one week and then like you signed up with me and I was like, dude, your price point is now 2.5 at a minimum. Right? Did that feel like a jump? Did that feel like, fuck man, I don't know how I'm going to make this work? How did that feel for you?
Oh yeah, I was like, is this real? Like, what do you mean 2.5? Is that really gonna work? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It was a whole, like I said, the whole thing is just it was just a whole new outlook, right?
Yeah,
And going through that comfort that you have, when you really believe in, like you were big on like, all right, this is your price point. You believe in this, have confidence in it. And so going through the whole sales process, it just made it simpler. You have that confidence. It's just easy to chug along.
cool. And when we implemented the Segit system, it gives you like a formula to follow at every stage of the sales call. And then we worked also on your offer and your deliverables. So do you think having that process helped you on those sales calls, knowing the exact step by step to take?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Because we like you had mentioned earlier, like we go through the exact ideal client and we cover all of the things and gather all the information that we need. And then through the Segit system, the whole sales process, things are already in place. And so you're just going through the process and it just works.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So once we started getting those high ticket sales in, right, you started increasing the price points. You're now at like 3K, and you're now full time in the business. You've now got a setter on board. That's increased the lead flow. We're talking right now, it's the 19th of December. And I think you said you're at like 6 or 7K for the month already. It's looking like it's a good month and it's December. Where do you think the business is going to be at once we get into, January, February? Because for anybody watching, for everybody watching, Scott's done all these numbers up until this point, working part time. How long ago was it you handed in that notice to go full time now in the business?
I handed in that notice about 3 weeks ago. So beginning of or ended November, beginning of January, right? And
Awesome.
as soon as we got into that flow, like to answer your question, coming January, February, I think giving all that time back, having these systems in place, I'm looking for, record months, right? That's the expectation, is just continuing to do right by my clients, continuing to onboard guys, having more time to coach. Overall, just I think the business is going to be in a great spot, right? And it's thanks to everything we mentioned, to be honest.
Cool. Awesome, man. What would you say to somebody who's like on the fence about signing up, or they see that like strategy call link and they're thinking about getting booked in for a call, but they like hesitate or they're a bit nervous?
Listen, what I would say is, you got to make a, reasonable decision in terms of how serious do you want to take this, right? If the goal for you is to build back some of that freedom, have that, fulfilling business that you dream of having, right? We all want to have that sort of freedom in our lives and have success in it, right? There's processes here that work for you. Matt's a great guy, great teacher, great coach overall that's going to look at your situation, figure out what exactly needs to be in place for you. And overall, like it's an investment that you're gonna look back and be like, you know what, that was worth it, right? Like myself, I mean, I left my 9 to 5 job, and it's just I feel the freedom already, like I talked about earlier. So yeah.
So, cool, dude. So as a result of this, going into the new year, you've now got a member of the team, you've got calls getting booked in every week with people that are pretty much ready to buy. You have a robust sales process and a proven offer. At this stage, you're stacking client results. That's something we've obviously talked about, is like making the delivery so good that we capture all this proof and all these results to use in our marketing. Going on to do these record months in the new year, lifestyle wise, what's changed? You mentioned freedom, right? You mentioned, full time, you've got time back. Right? What were you feeling before when you were trying to juggle everything? And now, what are you feeling now? Right? Before, now you're feeling freedom. Was there stress? Was there anxiety? You built up this audience before. What were you feeling then? And how are you feeling now?
Yeah, I just looked at it like I have this audience that I built up, and I just feel like I can't do anything with it, right? Then on top of that was just being associated with a job, having to go in every day, trying to juggle everything, the stress, the anxiety. I mean, we talked about it during our time. I was stressed in the beginning. I was anxious. We had a couple calls. We talked things over, and yeah, compared from then to now, just a lot of things like a lot of pain during that time. But overall, getting out of that, having more freedom was different about my life now. I get up, I'm able to fully lock in on my clients, my processes. I have a full system in the back end. I can think about things like traveling more and working on the go, right? I can think about, new opportunities for myself and just all this extra time I've gained that I could use more towards the business is the main thing, right? Making this thing grow the way I would like it to with all of the support of guys like yourself, right, in the back end. So it's been transformational. I got nothing but good things to say, and I'm excited for a lot of you guys to.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. So better to get it direct from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Scott, thanks for your time. That was excellent. Guys, if you're watching this, book in a call, go through this same transformation. Maybe you sign up and we work together, but at the very least, get a call booked in and we can lay out strategy together. All right. Peace.